But I have Annabelle Lee live on the hotline, and we are talking
Hello,
today.
hello.
We are talking today about the Hamptons, Seinfeld,
Juicy Hamptons.
the Seinfeld episode, The Hamptons, which you chose.
I did choose it because it's not necessarily my favorite, but it's everybody's favorite, kind of. Like nobody ever says that's the worst one, right?
I think
Everybody's seen it, everybody quotes it.
I was gonna say I think this.
Ah,
I was gonna say even like people who like the people on like Seinfeldisms or whatever are like, I love that episode. Why? Because I was in the pool. The end. That's all. You,
You guys are always shit talking that group. Why are you all in it?
it's not. It's like it's just like that type of like the people like my mom's age who like Seinfeld who watch it. They're
Oh,
like,
okay.
I love that episode because I was in pool. Like that's all.
Oh,
Like that's all people from. But yeah, I wrote down Jane doesn't seem like a George style girlfriend. She's more of like a Jerry style girlfriend. Because I don't know. I
well,
want at some
she.
point. Oh, but we're gonna go.
Well, I was just gonna say, like, in my rewatch yesterday, um, I noticed she doesn't seem into George from the get-go, right? Like when they're driving, she doesn't seem into him.
I
Then
completely
he's like,
agree.
"Hey, yeah, like want to take a ride? I need to go get the tomatoes." And she's like, "No, have fun." She just doesn't seem
Yeah,
into
I
him.
I agree completely. She has this like weird vibe where she.
Yeah, I don't know if it was just like the actress, but like rewatching and really paying attention, I was just like, "Oh, she's not into him at all."
No. But
Well,
like
okay, so George goes, he's like, "Oh, one time I found like $1.50 in change
I
at
wrote
the
that
bottom of the
down.
pool." She's
He
like, "You
goes,
must have been real excited."
yeah, that must have been so exciting for you. I know.
Yes.
I wrote I wrote
I
down
think that's
that.
my new favorite line in the series now.
I wrote down that, and when it said, I wrote down George says he loves the taste of cough medicine in the car with her, and that's like a whole. That's like a whole other topic where we only catch small glimpses of this when George is with a girl by himself and no one else is around, and he's trying to be like kind of fun and funny or whatever, and he has like like this, and like I'm thinking of I forget the episode off the top of my head. He's like, I want to buy 365 pairs of underwear. That way, I only have to do
Yes.
laundry once a year.
Yes, like all his weird little quirks, right? Like
Yeah, like
he's
he's. I don't even think he like means these things. I think he's just trying to like get them to laugh and have a fun time or whatever. Like he's being kind of. I guess you'd call it flirty or whatever, and he has other bits like that too. But I'm
yeah,
blanking out on the other ones right now. But
like
that
a window into his world, right?
yeah,
Like
this is like his version of like doing like when Jerry does his little bits or whatever. This is him doing his sort of style of bits.
yeah, yeah.
The next thing I
That's
wrote down is Elaine's backyard outfit. We talked about this the other day. She has like a full head to toe outfit on and a hat with like cobwebs in it or whatever you call those things.
it's just lace that like ties
Yeah,
around
it's
her
not literally
chin.
cobwebs. Yeah, it's like something to go under her chin to hold it down or
Yes,
whatever.
yes. Well, because it's breezy seaside, you know? You don't want your hat to go flying away.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's like
I
she's
did
basically
notice
dressed like
her
a beekeeper.
shoes. She is dressed like a beekeeper. Or like I'm gonna get the decade or maybe even the century wrong, but like maybe like old Victorian. Like if you watch it again, notice her shoes when she's wearing that mod outfit.
I did write them down.
You wrote
They
down her
match
shoes.
they're not a shoe that she wears any other episode, and they match. They're the
No.
exact same color as the dress. It's like cream colored. Even her shoes are like cream colored or whatever you'd call off
Yeah,
white.
like her tights, yeah, she's all one color.
And I wrote down George's orange shirt is like it's her. He has the weirdest sort of. Everybody's in slightly sort of vacationy versions of their own clothes. except Kramer's, you can't really, he's sort of almost always in vacation clothes 24/7, so it doesn't really affect
Yeah.
him.
Yeah.
And Jerry has like this blue like a blue collared shirt on. It doesn't really, it's not that different for him, but the George, the first thing he's has on is this like, it's like it looks like silky almost. It's got like tons of designs on it, some orange
It's
shirt.
like it's like a Tommy Bahama-esque kind of vibe. What I noticed, because, well, I was mistaken when I said, okay, I choose the Hamptons because it's one of my favorite lines. It's you gotta see the baby. It's the other episode where she tells her husband like to go get the camera and hurry up, and he scurries off, and she turns to Jerry and Kramer and goes, he's such an idiot. And that's like my favorite line of the whole
I know exactly what you're talking about.
series.
I know what you
But it's
mean.
not this episode. It's the same actress and the same, baby situation. But that's a different actor playing her husband though.
I
It's
wrote
a
that
different
down
guy.
too, and I was going to mention that. I wrote down it's a different actor playing Michael, the husband, but no one would probably ever notice that because I don't think he says anything in the first episode, which is the
Oh
boyfriend.
shit, you cut it.
I was going to say, yeah, it's a different actor playing her husband, Carol's husband, but I never noticed that till yesterday, till I did the research, because he doesn't do anything in that first episode, and in this episode he also doesn't do anything until he sort of has that encounter with Kramer at the table. That's like his only like dialogue the whole episode.
Yeah, yeah. He just my father sent me to law school or wherever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
Law
that's why
school.
no one's like thinking, oh, it's a different actor, because he doesn't say anything at all in the first episode that Carol
No,
brings
he
the
just
baby.
he just scampers off. The way he runs off in The Boyfriend, I don't know. I'm probably gonna put it on after this now just to watch that scene. He's such an idiot.
Yeah, I wrote down everybody but George seeing George's girlfriend topless is just a great episode idea. Like that's all you need, and then you have like right when it first happens, and she walks up to them, or Jerry, before she even walks up, Jerry's like, Jane's topless, and everybody's eyes perk up.
Yes.
And then after she says like, anyone want a drink, and she walks away, I'm like, that's all you need for an episode, because then you kind of like things are gonna steamroll, and like he's gonna get back and flip out. Like I'm like,
Lose his mind.
the
Yeah.
episode writes itself. All you need is that simple idea, and everything else will just
Yeah.
fall into place on its own.
Yeah, yeah. And I did notice, like, paying closer attention. So after Jane's like, "Does anybody want a drink?" and she walks away, they all kind of are like, "Woo, whoa!" And Elaine does this like very brief, like if you're not paying attention, you won't see it. She looks down at her own chest, almost like in disappointment. Have you ever noticed that?
I did not catch that actually. Wow. So good eye.
Yeah, yeah. See, and that's just Julia being like as brilliant as she is. They're kind of like all looking around, and she looks down, like, "Oh," it's
That
super quick.
that's got to be just her doing that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, I wrote down when George does come back, and he's like, "Man, what a weekend! Lobsters and pool and all this stuff." And Kramer just goes very casually, "Yeah." And when we saw Jane topless, the audience reaction is so specific and good. Like you can hear like individual, like there's just that general audience like laughter, but then there's like a one guy and one girl that are just going and going and going, and you hear them like in a different frequency than everyone else. I rewound it.
I
It was
love
so good.
I love when you can hear individual laughter on the on sitcoms like this. I think it's great.
Um, I wrote down most memeable moment of the episode. That could be like a recurring category, but it's kind of obvious. It's the I was in the pool. Like that's just it's just
Yeah,
too
I was in the
obvious.
pool. I was in the pool, but like I was thinking, like, how many times have you memed that scene?
Maybe never. And the one that sticks out in my head is somebody painted George like a Ninja Turtle, and it was I was in the ooze, and it's like it's just
Oh,
George with green
yeah.
skin with the orange bandana over his eyes or whatever.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I wrote down all of George's different outfit changes, which is like 5 different shirts in one episode. Seemed very
I think
um
they're only there one night also.
That's something else I
right?
wanted to mention. I was like, is this supposed to take place over like a 3-day period too? Is the whole episode like a Friday, Saturday, Sunday? Or so you just said you think maybe it's all in one kind of afternoon or whatever.
Yeah, I think they go right because we see them driving over. They get there, then Jerry leaves to get Rachel, right? No, yeah,
It,
Rachel,
it,
and
it can't all be one day because they have breakfast the next morning too. So.
yeah, right. But I think it's just one night. But it is interesting
Mm.
how often George changes. Then I thought about like me personally, if I go take a beach trip, I'll have like my drive over clothes, then like swimming clothes, then you change out of that and get into nicer clothes, and then like your next morning clothes.
Yeah, that's why
Maybe that's excessive.
well, I thought I said, well, maybe this is supposed to be like maybe the whole episode is like 2.5 full days, and if I was going away for 3 days, I might pack like an A and a B for every day, even though I probably wouldn't wear them. I would just want like
Yeah.
a
Well,
backup for
oh
each
well,
day, you know.
remember, okay, now this is bringing me back because nobody else changes that often, but remember back to when they go to um I don't is it Atlantic City or LA when he's like what's with all the luggage?
Oh, the
Oh, I
mood.
call this morning mist. Yeah, he dresses by mood. So
That's the LA
maybe
one.
yeah, when they go to LA. So maybe George just packs like heavy all the time and he really just dress by mood, because nobody else changes that much.
Yeah, like it definitely not. The best one, of course, is the shrunken T-shirt, which is the other main thing I wanted to talk about, actually. So, and I brought this up to you ahead of time, where he has his whole I had shrinkage, and he wants to try to. He says, "Tell her that about the shrinkage, so she knows that it's not really me," and then he sits down at the table, and I always thought this was like the most awkward bit of the episode where he's trying to explain. He's like, "See, look, Rachel, this shirt shrunk." No one would
It's
ever make
so-
that connection. What he's trying to talk about, he's like, "That's what the water does. It shrinks things." If I didn't know, if I hadn't seen the episode, if I was like her, I'd be like, what are you talking about? Like, what? How is she
what are you
supposed
going
to?
on about, you
Yeah,
nutter?
she's supposed to have this light bulb moment and be like, "Oh, okay, that's what happened." Like that would never happen.
No. So like maybe if he was explaining it to Jane, maybe. But like to even then, no.
Yeah, if him and Jane are well, that I want to get to that later too because I wrote down the part that made me laugh the hardest. But I want to save that for later. But I asked you, I said, where does he get this shrunken T-shirt? Does he asks Carol in a scene we don't see, "Can I use your washing machine?" And he takes one of his shirts and puts it in the wash for like what as fast as you can, like a half hour. Takes it out, puts it in the
Hot
dryer.
water,
Yeah,
yeah,
runs it
high
under, puts
heat.
it under the dryer, then puts it right on, so it's all shrunk, so he can or else why would he have that with him? Um, but you
But
said
it's
maybe he grabbed one of Jerry's shirts, which I like that like fan theory.
yeah, because and it also so it says like my friend went to Florida. It says Florida on it, and all I got was this lousy t-shirt or something like that. And then
It,
that made even more sense because maybe Morty and Helen sent Jerry a t-shirt from Florida. They're the only ones down there right now. What was the part about Jane you wanted to talk about, or the funniest part you think?
oh, this is what made me laugh the hardest, and it's when you've seen an episode like 15 times, you just stop laughing after a while at everything.
No way, I
Um,
laugh at everything.
oh, um, I wrote
I
this
laugh
down.
out loud at all of it. Yeah.
I wrote this entire diatribe down because it's so good. He wrote, I wrote, "A certain something is not all that it could be, when in fact it is all that it should be, and more."
And more.
His yeah, he sounds so confident there for just a 30 seconds or whatever when and
It's like he's doing Hamlet or something in
yeah,
that scene.
I think
But
he does. I think he's doing some good hand gestures too when he does this, like the
oh
finger point.
yeah, yeah.
And my last note is at the very end when they wake up and they're like, "Oh, George, you got up before everybody and you cooked breakfast for everybody. Wow, that's so nice." And he's giving everybody eggs and he goes, "Are you enjoying them?" Oh, good. The audience, there's an audience laugh right there already before they even know, because his attitude is so specific. They're like, he's
So
got something up
George,
his,
just
yeah.
so yeah, he's out for revenge, like always.
I
Oh, I love to when she hears Jane leaving, she's like, "What's that?" Jerry's
oh
just like, "Oh, that's just Jane leaving in the middle of the night."
yeah, so casual.
So we know, right, that Jane was not interested in George. She wanted a free trip to the Hamptons. That's it.
That is a very sound theory, and I think it makes 100% sense.